Welcome, stranger, to Madame Strangeways, where I, Madame Strangeways, narrate your true strange stories of the unexplained. Whether you're a skeptic, a believer, or some secret third thing, stick around after the story where I will share my strange thoughts and research about said strange story. Along the way, I'll also drag you down a slew of strange rabbit holes, kicking and screaming if needs must. Before we get to the true strange story, however, the strangest of shoutouts to my Patreon patrons: TJ Hodder, Gmanmusic, Ted, Keith, Tori, Octavia Corvidae, Keith 2, Mariel, and Doozerpindan. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Hear your name at the beginning of every episode, get a free sticker, and get bonus Madame Strange Notes episodes and guided sleep meditations for joining the Patreon at patreon.com/Madame Strangeways. Sounds like it's about to rain hellcats and hellhounds outside, so you know what that means. Settle in for a true strange story here with Madame Strangeways. My One and Only Experience with a Spirit by Luke. So I'll start by saying I don't really believe in this kind of thing at all. Certainly when this actually happened around 10 years ago, which is why it was so weird. So I was around 19 to 21, can't remember how old exactly, and I was dating a girl who was really into witchcraft, pagan stuff, and she regularly told me that she would see ghosts. A few specifically, but I've forgotten a few of them as it was a long time ago. The one that matters, though, is Charlie. Charlie was a 12-year-old Tudor boy who she spoke to all the time and would actively be around while we were together. Now, as I said, I didn't believe her at all. I assumed it was something else going on, but I didn't bring it up to her. But anyway, one night we were chilling in my room and I got up to use the bathroom. And as I walked through the doorway, I went sub-zero cold, like to my core. Ice-like cold right down my spine, and an almighty shiver ran through me. I'd never felt anything like it before, and I haven't again since. I just verbally came out with, "What the blank was that?" To which my ex's response was a nonchalant, "Oh, you're stood in, Charlie." Unreal, man. It's the only thing that's ever made me think, is it all real? Never known cold like it. But yeah, nice and simple in comparison to other stuff here. Luke, thank you so much for allowing me to share your true strange story on the show. Charlie, though, can just move along. Charlie can go take a long walk off a short pier. Do we say that anymore? Is that a dated phrase? Should we bring it back? I don't know. Let me know. MadameStrangeways@gmail.com. How do you feel about it? Anyway, Charlie. What? I mean, and also, here's my question, Luke. How many other of her ghost friends did you walk through or moved through you that you didn't know? You know, that you didn't realize, like maybe you were stood directly in Charlie, and so that's why it was so cold for you. But what if you just kind of like lightly grazed another one of her ghosts? I don't know. Prudence? Sally? Why are they all girls? George, because we're in England. By the way, if it's not clear, this is set in the United Kingdom, presumably in England. So how many other ghosts were just hanging out around you constantly without you having any idea other than your girlfriend telling you, Luke? And of course, you didn't trust her. Interesting. Classic, not listening to your girlfriend. And see, where did that get you? Where did that get you, Luke? And listen, yeah, sometimes there's drafts in a house. Sometimes it's very cold. But was this a ghost or was it just a draft? I think we should talk about it because this is a little something that we, the royal strange, we like to do on the show again, we being me, it's just me, I like to discuss not only the paranormal theories, but also some naturalistic or mundane or skeptical theories, just because, you know what, we should look at all angles. And I mean, that's what good paranormal investigators do, is they first try to debunk what's happening. And then if they really can't explain it, then they bring out the big guns. I feel like I said big weird right there. So then they bring out the big guns. I feel better about that one. So let's talk about cold spots first. All right, let's talk about the paranormal. Let's talk about cold spots from Wikipedia. According to ghost hunters, a cold spot is an area of localized coldness or a sudden decrease in ambient temperature. Okay, this is not Wikipedia. This is me. Kind of, Sixth Sense. Have you seen Sixth Sense? Great. Then you know what I'm talking about. Have you not seen Sixth Sense? Say that 6 times fast. Say that 666 times fast. Crazy if you haven't seen Sixth Sense. You got to go watch it. What are you doing? Pause. You know what? Finish the episode. Then go watch Sixth Sense. Then start another Madame Strangeways episode. All right? You paying attention? Taking notes? Anyway, it's also in every paranormal, supernatural, etc. horror film out there. Anyway, temperature decreases, this is Wikipedia again, claimed to be associated with cold spots range from a few degrees Fahrenheit to over 40 degrees. That's a huge drop. You know what? If I could get a ghost in my bedroom at night, that would be great, because I like to sleep very chilly. I like it to be cold, and it's very expensive. So if I could have, like a cool ghost, a chill ghost. If Charlie could just hop across the pond and just kind of like hang out in my room, that's not weird. In a not weird way, that would really cut down on my air conditioning expenses. Anyway, Wikipedia again, many ghost hunters use digital thermometers or heat sensing devices to measure such temperature changes. Believers claim that cold spots are an indicator of paranormal or spirit activity in the area. However, there are many natural explanations for rapid temperature variations within structures, and there is no scientifically confirmed evidence that spirit entities exist or can affect air temperatures. That's straight from Wikipedia, folks. That's straight from Wikipedia. That's their words, not mine. So if you're a if you're a paranormal investigator, why don't we say supernatural investigator? Is it too close to the show? I feel like, could you rebrand? Okay, I'm sorry. Madam, please focus. We're going to move. We're going to move. We're going to keep going. Listen, if you're a paranormal investigator and you listen to the show, I would love to hear from you. Do you bring fancy thermometer situations in order to check the temperature? And have you felt something like what Luke felt, where just, I've never felt a cold like that before? Do you feel that? Actually, if you're just a paranormal investigator, period, and you have any sort of stories that you want to share with me, I would love to read them on the show. Email me, madamestrangeways@gmail.com. Email me right now. Anyway, I was wondering, how old is this concept of the spirits bringing cold air? So here we go, down a rabbit hole. Here we go. A Swedish seer, Emanuel Swedenborg, which sounds made up, but I assure you is not, wrote this in 1747. This is from encyclopedia.com, which is apparently a site that doesn't just sell encyclopedias. I don't know. I guess I don't know what I was expecting from encyclopedia.com. Emanuel Swedenborg says, a spirit is compared to the wind, John 3:8. That's a Bible verse that he's quoting. Hence, it is that spirits have come to me both now, and very frequently before, with wind, which I felt in the face. Yea, it also moved the flame of the candle, and likewise papers. The wind was cold, and indeed most frequently where I raised my right arm, which I wondered at, the cause of which I do not yet know. So he's saying, yeah, there's a lot of cold winds. They mess with the flame on his candle, and they move papers. And when he raises his right arm, there's more of a wind than others. I don't know what that's about. He never figured it out, I guess. But listen, I can't just leave it there. I have to share with you Emmanuel's accomplishments, in addition to being a Swedish seer. Got a lot of S words in this episode. Emmanuel was trained as a scientist, there's another one, and became the country's leading expert in mining and metallurgy. You'll see why I'm smiling. He was also a military engineer, learned astronomer, reputed physicist, zoologist, anatomist, financier, political economist, and biblical student. Can I just say, this is why I'm smiling, the American pronunciation of metallurgy is terrible, and I hate it. And I would like to adopt the British pronunciation, metallurgy, or I guess metallurgy. I would like to, can I, please, who agrees? Who disagrees? Who could possibly disagree? Metallurgy? I don't like it. Anyway, moving on. It wasn't just Sir... Nope, he's not a Sir. This next one is. It wasn't just Emanuel Swedenborg in 1747. Swedenborg. It's just... Is it a Muppet? Is he a Muppet? It's not just him. No, we've got Sir William Crookes, who wrote in Researches into the Phenomena of Spiritualism in 1874. These movements, and indeed I may say the same of every kind of phenomenon, are generally preceded by a peculiar cold air, sometimes amounting to a decided wind. I have had sheets of paper blown about by it and a thermometer lowered several degrees. On some occasions, I have not detected any actual movement of the air, but the cold has been so intense that I could only compare it to that felt when the hand has been within a few inches of frozen mercury. Famously, who among us doesn't know what that feels like to have their hand within a few inches of frozen mercury? Come on. Who doesn't know that? Anyway, more about Sir William Crookes. He was an English chemist and a physicist who attended the Royal College of Chemistry and worked on spectroscopy. There it is. He was a pioneer of vacuum tubes, which sounds very scientific and also kind of boring, honestly. So I was like, hold on, what does that mean? Oh boy, here we go. He also invented the Crookes tube, which was made in 1875. A Crookes tube, also called a Crookes-Hittorf tube. This is going really well. A Crookes tube is an early experimental discharge tube, sure, with partial vacuum, okay, invented by English physicist William Crookes. And others. I guess that's the Hittorf? I don't know how you pronounce that. Anyway, and others around 1869 to 1875, in which cathode rays, streams of electrons, were discovered. Wilhelm Röntgen discovered X-rays using the Crookes tube in 1895. Those are all words that I have heard before. I don't know what a cathode is. A cathode ray? Unclear. I know electrons exist. X-rays? I do know what an X-ray is. I do know that. Anyway, that's what Sir William Crookes was doing. And then at the same time, he's also writing books called Researches into the Phenomena of Spiritualism. So double threat? I think we can just call him a triple threat because I don't know what vacuums mean. So anyway, I can't tell you why it gets cold. I mean, listen, you can find 5,000 different theories online about why they think it's happening. You know, there's something about like the electromagnetic something, and, you know, the spirits are drawing on energy, and because they're doing that, they're creating their own like electromagnetic field, but for some reason it's cold. Like it's just something about the veil being thin. You know, there's all these different explanations. I don't have a satisfactory explanation as to why ghosts make it cold when they're around. I only know that if a really like cool, chill, calm ghost would like to hang out at least in the summer months and cool my house down, I would really appreciate. Are you a ghost who is looking for a place to politely haunt? Email me, madamestrangeways@gmail.com. But clearly there's like precedent for this going back. What did I say? What was the first year? 1700s? Yeah, going back to at least the 1700s. And you know that the Swedish seer Emanuel Swedenborg is not the first person to have experienced this. I mean, listen, if you really listen, if you listen. If you really want to go back in time, the Bible did mention that a spirit, it doesn't say a spirit. It says, apparently, I looked it up, and it's like the Holy Spirit. It says like the Holy Spirit is compared to the wind. And if it's a cold wind, where did that come from? And when was that book written? I'm not going to Google it. I'm not going to look and see when the book of John, is that what it's called? When that was written? I'm not going to look it up. My point is, For a very long time, we have associated something that doesn't make any sense to us, like a rapid drop in temperature, with something unexplained and like paranormal and a spirit, whether or not it's a holy spirit or whether it's like a demonic spirit. Either way, clearly there's a precedent for this happening for a very, very long time. And of course, for like a mundane or a skeptical explanation, I mean, honestly, look, sometimes I like to do a really deep dive and go into like all of the mechanics that could go into something that explains this happening. I mean, in this case, it could just be a draft in the house. But because your girlfriend is witchy and kind of spooky, which we love here. We love a strange, spooky, witchy lady, obviously. But because that's what she is, you are like, what was that? And she doesn't even know what you're talking about. She just knows that she thinks there's ghosts everywhere. This is from a mundane / naturalistic standpoint, okay? In which Luke is right and there are no ghosts. This is what I'm saying. Okay? Just to be clear. I mean, she's going to blame everything on ghosts, right? Like, this is what I say about Ed and Lorraine Warren. I am not comparing Luke's ex-girlfriend to Ed and Lorraine Warren. I am just saying, when you call yourself a demonologist, everything's a demon, right? Like, when you have a hammer, everything's a nail. When you're a demonologist, everything's a demon. When you see ghosts everywhere, everything is a ghost. And then Luke, because you specifically said it was a cold like I've never felt before. Well, yeah, because you were like, wow, what is that? What is that cold? Then she tells you you're standing in this ghost. That's scary, dude. Even if you can't see it, that's scary. So of course it like felt even colder to you because you're scared. So if I had to explain it with a naturalistic explanation, it's a draft in the house. Houses are drafty. I don't understand how wind works, honestly, because like in my house, their airflow is strange. And like there's like you'll smell the kitchen in different rooms, but you won't smell that strongly like near the kitchen. And I don't fully understand it, honestly. So I'm just saying it could have been that's done. One and done. That's the mundane theory. If you have a different mundane, we're not done. But if you have a different mundane theory, I would like to hear it, madamestrangeways@gmail.com, or a supernatural theory, madamestrangeways@gmail.com. But let's talk about Charlie, because remember Charlie from the story, Ghost Charlie? I feel like it's been an hour now since we talked about Charlie. Hopefully you only feel like it's been 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So Charlie, being from the Tudor period, would put him between the late 1400s and the early 1600s, which was a very long time ago. But I want to make sure that everyone, including Luke, has an accurate image of little Charlie the Tudor ghost. Don't you feel like that's important? I feel like it's important, so here we go. Okay, so Tudor, the Tudor period. Maybe you've seen the show, The Tudors, okay? Maybe you know about like a Tudor home, that architecture style, but maybe you don't, in which case we're going to talk about it very quickly. Here we go. Not that quickly. In England and Wales, this is Wikipedia, the Tudor period occurred between 1485 and 1603, including the Elizabethan era. I feel like I said that weird too. Elizabethan era. The Tudor period coincides with the reign of House of Tudor, which began with the ascension of Henry VII and ended with the death of Elizabeth I. Now, historians agree that the great theme of Tudor history was the Reformation, the transformation of England from Catholicism to Protestantism. And a quick reminder, said Reformation was entirely caused by Henry VIII wanting to divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Nope, that's the Lord of the Rings character. Catherine of Aragon, and the Pope wouldn't allow it. But Protestantism, this is going great today. My words are coming out super clearly. But Protestantism sure did allow it. And then he went on to divorce and also behead several more wives. 6 more wives. 6 wives total? I feel like there's like a musical about it now. Anyway, so that's what the Tudor period is. That's when this ghost is supposed to be from. The odds of Charlie the Tudor ghost being nobility is pretty low to me. So here we go. This is from historycolored.com. Until about 9 years of age, young boys were also dressed as girls too. This is from the Tudor age, okay? When they were old enough, these young boys would be breeched. Listen, like the pants, like breeches, okay? It's fine. Which means put into trousers and other garments. It is believed that the main reason behind dressing boys in dresses and gowns was due to toilet training. And when they were able to be more independent, they would be dressed in boys' clothes, which feels like there's a big gap between toilet training and being 9. Doesn't it feel like that's late? For children born outside of nobility, which is very likely to be Charlie. But, it's always a queen. It's just like with past life regression, you're always Cleopatra or like someone sexy and cool, and like ghosts are like, cool and like, wow, important. Like, no, they're probably just some guy, right? And so that's what I'm assuming Charlie the Tudor ghost is. Anyway, for children born outside of nobility, they were usually dressed in loose-fitting wool or muslin dresses until their families were able to dress them properly. Usually, peasant children would also wear a cloth bonnet too. When these children were old enough, they would also wear outfits that mimicked their parents. And then this is from cardinalcreations.com. The fabrics of a laborer's clothing would have been serviceable and simple. Linen would have been used for shirts, and possibly linen canvas may have been found in doublets. Smocks, headwear, partlets, whatever that is, and aprons could have been made of linen, though wool was an option for partlets, sure, and aprons as well. Wool would have been the fabric of choice for most men's doublets, hose, and gowns. Wool hose. I'm good. As well as kirtle and gowns for women. Okay. The colors in their wardrobe, this is the good part. The colors in their wardrobe would not have been the drab beiges and browns that are often associated with a modern view of peasants, which makes me wonder, why do we do that? We like show that they're, it's like a visual difference, right? I'm just spitballing this. It's like say you're on stage, you're watching a movie. You need to very quickly be able to determine who is lower class and who is upper class for the terms of the story. I feel like that's a pretty good explanation, but I bet there's a deeper meaning there. Anyway, undyed sheep's wool did provide white, black, russet, and gray colored fabrics, but dyes such as woad and madder provided blue and red, respectively. And I did kind of look those up, but I'm not gonna go down another rabbit hole about those. But they're plants. Okay, they're plants, and we make dye from them. So probably Charlie was walking around, possibly with some red or blue, but definitely either white, black, russet, which is like brown, and gray colored fabric. So there's some beiges and browns in there, but not as drab. Anyway, I did find this looking up Tudor fashions, and I couldn't not share, even though I should probably wrap the episode up. Sorry. Haha, here we go. They go on to say, this is about fabrics and colors. The sumptuary laws that defined who was allowed to wear what fabrics and colors. Hello? What do you mean? I love this. So the laws that defined who was allowed to wear what fabrics and colors stated that only knights, lords, and above, or having an income of 200 pounds per year, may wear red or blue velvet. So you could wear red or blue stuff that you dyed with your woad and your madder, but you can't wear red or blue velvet specifically. Okay. You also can't wear black fur or genet, which is a weird little kind of strange cat monkey looking creature. You also can't wear lynx fur. You can't wear either of those furs. Also velvet gowns, velvet coats. So just any velvet. So they say like red or blue velvet, and then they just go on to say like just other velvet things. You can't wear velvet gowns or velvet coats. You can't do leopard furs. You can't do embroidered clothes. That's crazy. What do you mean? I can't embroider my own clothes? Or cloth pricked with gold, silver, or silk, which you probably don't have if you don't have that much money anyway. But still, what if I did? What if that's where I wanted to spend my money? What are you going to do about it? I guess you're going to probably hang me, possibly, or behead me. However, the most popular color for men, to the point that it is difficult to find portraits of the individual wearing anything else, is black for the Tudor period. The fabrics available to a gentleman or noble lady included silks such as satin, damask, velvet, and taffeta. Wool fabrics of scarlet and broadcloth were common, and linens were of high-quality lawn and cambric. These are all words, again, that I've heard, but wouldn't be able to, tell you the exact definition of. It's fine. Furs were used extensively as linings of sleeves and outer garments. Colors included crimson. This is what I was like, I have to include this. Crimson from an expensive dye called kermes, made from insects. Now, this is not the first time that I've heard of a dye made from an insect, but kermes? Like Kermit the Frog? Like multiple Kermit? Kermie? Like Kermie? Hello? Here we go. Kermes is a red dye derived from the dried bodies. Did you know this is where this is going when we talked about this really short ghost story? Did you know we were going to be talking about Kermes dye derived from the dried dead bodies of the females of a scale insect in the genus Kermes, primarily Kermes vermilio, sorry. Is that where we get the term vermilion from? I didn't go down that rabbit hole, but it does feel relevant. Or maybe the vermilio, we're going to move on. The Kermes insects are native to the Mediterranean region and are parasites, living on the sap of the host plant, the Kermes oak and the Palestine oak. So they're parasites. So okay, get rid of them and make some dye out of them. I don't know. How do you even discover that? That's crazy. I don't even know how you discover that. These insects were used as red dye since antiquity by the ancient Egyptians, the Mesopotamians, the Indians, the Greeks, Romans, and Iranians. The dye also served as a number of ritual and practical purposes in the Hebrew Bible. The Kermes dye, this is just, geez, how much fun. I'm having a great time. I hope you are also having a good time because I'm having an excellent time. Okay, so now what are we picturing Charlie wearing? You know what he wasn't wearing? He wasn't wearing blue or red velvet. Charlie was not wearing leopard fur. And Charlie was definitely not wearing gold, silver, or silk unless Charlie was, unbeknownst to us, either secretly a knight or Charlie was somehow making 200 pounds per year or more, which was a lot of money back then. Okay, do I need to... Hold on. Here we go. We're going to wrap this up by saying, unless Charlie was making the equivalent of 224,000 pounds sterling a year, which is 297,000 US dollars a year. Unless he was making that much money, he wasn't wearing any of those things. But if you're picturing a little pale Victorian child, you're a little too modern. You got to go back in time. You got to go back in time. You got to go back. You got to go back a little bit further. Anyway, that's Charlie for you. That's Charlie. I will let you guys know if Charlie stops by and says hello and helps me with my air conditioning bills. In the meantime, Luke, again, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. And if anyone has a true strange story that they would like to hear narrated on the show, I want to hear about it. I want to hear about it immediately. I want to hear about it right now. So go type it up. Type it up. Send it to madamestrangeways@gmail.com, and I can't wait to read it. Remember that you can feel afraid and not be in danger. You're safe here with me. Probably. Thank you for joining me for more true strange stories of the unexplained. I'm running a one-madam show here, so please do me a strange solid and follow the podcast, leave me a rating on Apple or Spotify, and maybe even join the Patreon at patreon.com/Madame Strangeways for bonus content. Madame Strangeways is produced and narrated by me, Madame Strangeways. Theme music is by Marina Ryan at marinamakes.co. Cover art is by Andrea Giselle Roldan at Cult of Teddy on Instagram. Every strange story is shared with the permission of the author. You can submit your own true strange story to madamestrangeways@gmail.com. See you soon, she said ominously.